Hey guys, this is JJ with Express Workshops. This week we're going to do traditional airbrushing inside of Photoshop. Okay, let's get started on this tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be a little bit different. What I want to show you is a lot of times you have a photograph when you open up Photoshop that you want to manipulate or you want to enhance or whatever. But you know, another way that you can use Photoshop is for actually drawing and painting inside the program. And that's what I want to do in this tutorial. I want to show you some of the ways that I use Photoshop besides just actually manipulating photographs. My background is I airbrush t-shirts for about 20 years. And I thought it would be kind of fun to just try to recreate some of the things, some of the airbrush t-shirt look that I did when I airbrushed shirts. I did that for almost 20 years, so it's kind of in my DNA, and I enjoy doing it. And you know, this tutorial, though you may not think that it would be something that you'd be interested in, I'd urge you to go ahead and check it out, because the techniques that I'm going to use here will actually be something that you might want to use for manipulating photographs. That's what you do. And if you actually draw like I do, then it might be just a fun to watch, or you might pick up something. So anyway, let's get started with this. I want to show you here that I have this sketch that I did of my wife for her Pinterest or Facebook profile picture. She thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little cartoon of her. So I actually drew this. I have a Wacom Cintiq that I use for all of my retouching and drawing. So I'm drawing directly on the screen. So everything that I do here, like, if I were to just go here and just draw, well, I guess you gotta have the right tool, right? Sorry about that. If I just go here and draw, you can see that I can just draw directly on the screen. So that's how I produced this drawing right here. I just did a sketch, and quickly I just want to show you that after I did the sketch, I went on and painted this in black and white, which I got my values in. And then after then, I went in and actually did the final color on it. So it was a fun little project. It was one of the things that I actually do inside of Photoshop. So what we want to do today, though, like I said, I want to just go in and try to recreate a little cute palm scene, a little name design that we used to do every single day when I airbrush t-shirts. And again, it might be one of those things where you might think, well, it doesn't have anything to do with what I do. I'm not interested in drawing palm scenes or anything. Well, I think that the value of this is going to be watching and seeing the tools that I use and how I use them, so that you can use those in the type of work that you do. All right, so this will be a little fun project. If you don't want to hear me talk, then you can just turn the sound down, just kind of watch it. It might be fun just to watch. Okay, let me get started. First thing I want to show you is I'm going to pick a nice blue color here, and that'll be fine. And basically, the thing that you want to watch is how these tools up here work. I'm using the flow and the opacity, and the blend mode is going to be pretty important in how I make all this work. Now, I'm kind of doing this off the cuff, so if I kind of stumble around and find maybe a different way of doing it after I've done something, then, you know, that's just part of the process. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I did pick this nice blue color, and I'm just going to go in here, just like that. See, I've got my brush on. I don't want that to be like that. I'm going to use my shape dynamics over here. Turn that off. I just want a nice, soft, kind of blended, there we go, color like that. I like that. Now, it might be a little bit too strong. So again, I'm going to go up here, bring the flow down. Now, the flow is like when you're using an airbrush, is how quickly or how much paint actually comes out. So that's how it translates in Photoshop. So I brought my flow down because actually it was painting a little bit too fast for my liking. My opacity is still the same, just my flow is different here. So now I can get a soft, there we go, get a nice soft look to it. All right, so you'll kind of see what I'm doing here as I go along, but I'll create this cool little palm scene for you. So I've got that done, and I'm going to go ahead and change my color. I'm going to get a nice purple here. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing, maybe a little smaller brush, but I want to get just on the edge of this, just like that. That's all right. All right, now, see, I'm still using normal as my blend mode, so it's just covering up the blue that I have here. Some of the things here I'm going to want to blend in. I want those to kind of bleed together, so I'll use a different blend mode. But for right now, I'm okay with what I have. Now, this is kind of my horizon line right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a little mask that will be, stick with me, it's going to be mountains here. So now I want to invert this selection, so I'm going to push Control-Shift-I so that I can paint below this line with my purple. And that's going to give me my little mountain range kind of in the distance that I want. All right, I'm going to Control-D to get rid of that mask and go in here. I still want to bring my flow down a little bit more, but these are a little touchier, just to kind of clean that area up like that. Good. And I'm going to define this horizon line a little bit more and put little waves in here. This will all come into play. I've done 1,000 of these, so some of these things that I'm showing here, I've done them so many times I don't even realize that I do them anymore. So I'm kind of just putting a little texture in the background there. Okay, so anyway, now I want to go ahead and change my blend mode here on my brush. So I'm going to move this to multiply because I want some of this color to blend in with some of the other colors in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a nice yellow. I want to be pretty true yellow. That's good. And again, I've got multiply here. So I'm going to go ahead and just paint a little bit of color in there. Got that. Boy, this reminds me of painting. It's kind of fun. All right, and then I'm going to make a mask here. I'm going to use the elliptical tool, and I'm going to make a little sun here. I'm going to move this in. Kind of a little sun here, just like that. Again, I'm going to go ahead and Control-Shift-I and invert that mask. Find a color, a nice pink in there, bright pink. And again, I'm still using my multiply on here because I want these colors to blend. And I'm going to make my brush a little smaller and kind of just throw some lines in here and then build up some of that color. Now it's not going to let me go where my little sun is there, so that's why I'm using that mask. Just kind of build up that color, kind of nice. All right, I'm going to deselect that, and then I'll go in here and just put little highlights. It's kind of fun on the sun, just real light, just kind of give it a little roundness. All right, I'm going to say that's okay for my background. And one of the things that you'll see an airbrush artist do, so you'll see them do these little palm trees. And that's what I'm going to do now. And I can't, they're usually the lettering and the palm scenes or different details are going to be quite a bit sharper and a little more precise in the background. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and load black into my color picker here by pushing D on the keyboard for my default colors. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to normal with my blend mode. And over here with my brush presets, I'm going to go ahead and put the shape dynamics on. And what that's going to allow me to do is to get this nice tapered look to whatever I'm doing. It's pressure sensitive. So I'm going to go ahead and start building these little palm scenes on, or little palm trees in here. And it's kind of fun. Actually, I want to get my flow back up. Let me go and undo that real quick. All right, so I got 100% flow, 100% opacity, and I'm just gonna throw in cute little palm scene. All I'm doing is making these little strokes. In airbrushing, they're called dagger strokes. It's kind of fun. I feel like it's 1980 all over again, and I'm painting at a resort area. All right, so I'm going to put these in here. And what I'm doing with this is I'm actually pushing hard at the beginning and letting it trail off. So that's the pressure sensitivity of my Wacom tablet. Maybe one more there to kind of balance that out. All right, there's one. And I think I'll do another small one maybe over here. All right, and I am using this stylus with the tablet the same way I would with an airbrush. It's pretty amazing how it translates pretty good with that. All right, so I'll just kind of balance that out. All right, so these you're going to need some trunks for my trees. All right, I'll make it a little thicker by pushing harder like that. And maybe giving a little texture to that as I go down, like that. Now, you could probably do this with a mouse if you were very good at using a mouse, but I would suggest that you do it with a tablet. It wouldn't necessarily have to be a Wacom pin display like this, a Cintiq. You could do it with just a regular Intuos or something like that. Now, I need like a soft black around here. So I've got my shape dynamics on. I need to turn that off so that I can get that soft kind of look that I'm looking for. Now, again, I didn't adjust my flow, so I got it really heavy, too heavy. So I'm going to undo that, go back in, bring my flow down, and then just blend that in slowly. So I have to take several passes at blending that in. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. I am going to put my flow back up. I am going to make my shape dynamics come back in because I have to do what we used to call flying mustaches, which is basically, that's too thick, basically little birds flying. So we go like that, maybe one over here. All right, done. All right, so the only thing left to do is just to put a name on here. I'll put a name on here. You know what? I'm going to go up here and make my brush just a little bit harder. And I'll just stick a name in here. I don't know why. I've always liked the shape of this name. So if somebody out there's name is Sarah, I like drawing your name. So I'm hand lettering this, as you can see, the same way I would with an airbrush. And maybe not as good as it used to be, but you know, it's kind of fun. Kind of takes me back. All right. Pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and select this purple again. I'm using my color picker here, just holding Alt, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in a couple lines in purple like that. And then one more thing, I'm going to make these little sparkles, which is you see all over airbrushing. Basically making a shape like that on both sides. And then up here, what we haven't talked about is actually the airbrush part of this. And when you turn that on, what happens is that, I'll show you down here, basically when you make a spot, it keeps growing, it keeps spraying out. See how that sprays out? It just, as long as I hold it down, it just keeps spraying. So that's what I'm looking for. And I want to make my brush really soft, and on here I'm going to make these little sparkles. So I'm going to click on there and just hold it there and it'll spray, which is always kind of fun. All right, one last thing I want to do, which is always the fun part of airbrushing. I changed my foreground color to white, so now I'm painting with white, and I've got my shape dynamics on, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to, actually, you know what, I'll take the shape dynamics off, it might be a little better. And I'm going to take my flow down, My opacity's up, and I'm going to put in some clouds here. Those were like little shadows of where my clouds was I put in earlier, like that. And then on my horizon here, I might want to throw in, that's a little bit too much. Bring my flow down a little bit more. Maybe put in a little bit of white caps on top of the water here. And in the sun here, I'll bring out some rays. I'll bring that up a little bit more. Too much. And I still put in some shape dynamics for that too. So I'm going to put that in like that. And then I'll take that off and soften that up. All right, so that's kind of cool. And I'll go ahead with my shape dynamics and put on a little bit of highlights on my lettering, just like an airbrush shirt would look. A little inside my sparkle there. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. That makes me want to go back and paint on a beach somewhere. Okay, that's pretty much how I wanted to do this. I think that's kind of a fun tutorial. Kind of show you a little bit of my history, and also kind of show some of the tools and how you would just draw something from scratch. Like always, if you have any questions on what I've done in this tutorial, or even why I did this tutorial, I think it's just kind of fun. Leave a comment down below. And also make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that I can keep this stuff going. And also share my page, because I'd like to see it out there, you know, on Facebook, and see what kind of response I can get from there. I'm not very good at social media, so maybe you can help me out with that. Anyway, thanks for watching my video, and I will see you next week. Thanks.